Okay, good morning, Ariel, and good world. Your brother, your friend, your dietitian, Mark, back again. So today I want to talk about the 401k um, and how it can, the magic of compound interest, like how young millennials who are living at home with their parents can actually make millions in retirement just by maxing out their 401k in the first couple years of living with their parents. So, what is the 401k? Um, on howstuffworks.com breaks down the brief history of 401k in 1978. Congress decided that Americans needed a bit of encouragement to save more money for retirement. Thanks, Congress. They represent us, so that's why I love America. But anyway, they thought if they gave people a way to save for retirement while at the same time lowering their state and federal taxes, they might just take advantage of it. So they came up with the Tax Reform Act, and part of it authorized the creation of a tax deferred savings plan for employees. This is the most important part. This is what the 401k came from. So people are so boring, but 401k got its name from section number and paragraph in the Internal Revenue Code, section 401, paragraph K. Doesn't really matter where its name came from. What matters is what it does. So when people talk about the 401k, you often hear advantages like free money from your employer, lower taxable income, saves and earnings that accumulate with you without you having to remember to make deposits. So this is cool because say you're a young millennial, you're broke. You're not really broke. I mean, you have a job, a decent entry level job after you graduated from school, but you don't have enough money to invest in the expensive market that you live in or to even rent an apartment, or you're just trying to stay at home, save money, pay back loans, whatever. Um, what's cool with 401ks with decent companies, they give you free money from your employer. My employer actually matches my contributions. Actually, they don't even match. They just put in 6% of my salary, regardless if I put money into the 401k or not. They're super generous. Other organizations put up 4%. That's the usual, that's the typical. They'll match you with 4%. Anything you put into the 401k is pre tax, Ariel. So if you decide to go to the 401k contribution limits and go max would be $1,500 a month, $750 per check, and $18,000 for the year. So people might say, "How the hell will I have $18,000 a year to put up?" That's what I'm saying. If you live at home with your parents, then it's a good idea. It's possible. Say you're making 15,000 minus you subtract 50. I said if you're making 15,000. If you're making 50,000 and you subtract 50, you're making 32,000 still. So 50 minus 18, 32,000, right? Also, you have to remember that this lowers your taxable income. So by jumping from the 50,000 tax bracket to 32,000 tax bracket, you're gonna save a lot of money in taxes. So although you aren't getting much money back because you're losing money because you're putting it into your 401k, what I'm basically trying to say is that the 750 that comes from your check every month and the 1500 that comes from your your this the 1500 that comes from your check every month comes out pre-tax, so you're only taxed on what's left of your check, and therefore you'll be taxed less, and you'll keep more money. So although you're putting up 18,000 for the year, you actually will keep a lot of money. So another cool thing is that the money that you put into the interest bearing 401k actually accumulates interest and grows. So that's where the compound interest comes from. This is on investor.gov. It's a government website, has information. So it's a compound interest calculator. Determine how much your money can grow using the power of compound interest. You can also calculate how much money you need to contribute each month in order to arrive at a specific savings goal. The United States, it's 5 a.m. for anybody that's wondering why I'm talking like I'm a zombie. Um, it's 5 a.m. in Los Angeles. So yeah, step one, initial investment. Oh, I got off track. So basically, the U.S. stock market is one of the most best performing stock markets in the world, with the average return of about 9% interest throughout its history from its inception until now. That's really great returns. Although you can lose money in the stock market, like the 2008 recession, during the Great Depression, but you can also make a lot of money during those times because the prices of things drastically drop, but the value themselves don't necessarily, the value of the company itself doesn't necessarily drop, so you can buy the stocks of high value companies at low prices, but that's just getting into too complicated. The point is just that you're gonna if you're investing for the long term, you're gonna see good returns because the U.S. stock market is a good market. Okay, so say a young millennial is 22 years old, right? They get their first job, graduating out of school. They're living at home with their parents. Their parents don't make them pay any rent. They're making that 50,000 I told you about. Oops, they're making the 50,000 I told you about, right? They decide they're gonna max out on their 401k and lower their taxable income by 18,000. Also, they're going to put away $1,500 a month and put away $18,000 into the bank. I know Jewish. It doesn't matter their religion or race. I know people who are doing this. I know blacks who are doing this, Jews who are doing this. I know different people who are doing it. So you could easily amass millions in your retirement. So I'm going to show you how. Okay, so you're 22 years old, right? We said you just got your first job, paying 50,000. That's about how much I was getting paid on my first job, so it's not unrealistic. People make more than that. So you put up 18,000. Actually, your initial investment will be zero, and how much you plan to add every month is 1,500. And for the length of time in years, let's say you do it for 2 years at 9% interest rate, right? And then here you compound it times per year that interest will be compounded. It's going to be annually. So in 1 year, you'll have 18,000. That makes sense, right? Because we said for 1 year, 1,500, 12 times 1,500, or 12 times 15 is 18,000, right? Or excuse me, 1,500 times 12 is 18,000. So the young millennial is 24 years old now. It's only 2 years. 2 years will fly by really fast. I'm 27. Most of my family, most of my Howard fam, we graduated at like 22. We're all like 27 now, so time flies. Um, 24. Now this young millennial is going to calculate how much they have now in 2 years. They have $37,620. That's this is saying that the market performed exactly at 9%. We didn't have a recession. We didn't have a depression. Also, that the market didn't increase more than 9%. It could have gotten higher, but it looks like the return would be $1,000, $1,620. People are like, "What the hell? That's not $1 million. What is he talking about?" Well, if you copy this, that's how much you amassed in 2 years, right? Now your parents are like, "All right, bro. Um, I gave you enough money. I mean, I let you stay here for 2 years. You got to get out, or maybe you're still living there. It doesn't matter. With this 18,000, you'll still have 32,000 if you're living with your parents. That's still enough money for you to put savings aside. In addition to the money you're putting into the 401k, in my opinion, if you live right. But whatever. So now you're 24 years old, and let's say let's say you have $37,620 in the account in your 401k account, right? If you switch jobs, you can roll over your 401k, right? If you So just to maintain that. Say now you don't want to put any money in for the rest of your days, right? And let's say 35 more years. So that would mean you're 69. No, that's not even right. I can't even do math. So 40 more years because you're 24. No, 42. 24. 42 plus 24. 66. So that's like retirement age. Right? So you say you never want to touch that money again after 2 years as a millennial living at home instead of um posting pictures of you traveling all over the world on Instagram and blowing your money. I love traveling. You guys know I love traveling. But say you post say instead of posting all that, you just decide to stack your cheese, stack your bread for the future. Just 2 years of sacrifice. You never touch the account again. You have amassed $37,620. You let it sit for 42 years without touching it. 9% interest rate. You calculate how much money you're gonna have. You're gonna have 1.4 million in retirement. If you don't touch it, never touch it again. That means if you don't even put a cent into it, it's gonna return 1.4 million. If you decide for the rest of your life, for those 42 years, you're just gonna put $100 into that account per month. Just $100 for 42 years. That means even when you start making more money, you don't even increase it. You just keep putting only $100. How much do you think it will increase your results? Let's see. You're going to get 7 million after 2 years of sacrificing at home, putting up 18,000 a year, and then thereafter only putting $100 up for 42 years and 9% interest. You have 7 mil, and you'll be 66 years old. A lot of people will retire broke at 66. But some people say, well, what the hell? What do I need 7 million for? Are you serious? In retirement, a lot of expenses go up because of sickness, because of ailments, medications. You want to travel, you're not going to be dead at 66. People are living longer. You're going to want to be able to go to the wall of China. You're going to want to go to Paris and drink. You're going to want to do different things. And this can finance the lifestyle. And this is just a portion of your investments. I'm talking about $100 a month. So let's say you're actually 27 instead of 42. I mean instead of 24. So let's minus 3 years. If you subtract 3 years, you see that it drops by 2 million. Now you're only amassing 5 million. This is the strength of compound interest and the power of it. You have to start early, and you can't make up lost time. So we won't be able to make as much money or amass as much cheese as our younger counterparts, younger, wiser counterparts, because we just don't have the time. But if you can make it, you could try and make it up with higher payments. Like let's see, you do instead of 100 a month, you do 200 a month, trying to catch up with your younger brother who's 3 years younger than you, who started earlier. You'll catch up to him, but it's more difficult. You have to double your income. Because if he doubled his, look, this is your number for doubling yours. If he doubled his number would be still 14 million higher. So now for the first 2 years, you decide, hey, I'm gonna put bread up 18,000, and then for those 2 years amass this much money. After that, you only put $200 a month into it. For the next 42 years at 9% interest rate, you'll have 13 million. 13 million. This is on the government website. This isn't something we're making up here. So this is the benefit of um being thrift in the beginning of your years with living at home with your parents. So this is kind of an extreme example because you have to be living at home and basically just maxing out the 401k. But don't downplay it. Don't discount it. There's a lot of people I know, like I said, who are living at home, don't have to pay rent, or only paying like $200 in rent, $400 or $300, something like that. Calculate how much it would cost you with the pre-tax thing, because this doesn't mean that you're gonna lose 18,000. In effect, you don't actually lose that much money. Um, it's you lose it. That money is avoided from being paid in taxes. One last thing before I get off of here. I don't know how long I've been recording this, but this money isn't tax free. It just grows tax free. Once you withdraw it in retirement, you have to pay taxes. So there's another one called a Roth 401k, where if you put the money in, you pay taxes on the initial money. So when you first every year, when you first put the 18,000 in, you pay the taxes on that money. But I like the Roth a little bit more because you pay taxes up front. It can grow like this, with interest and tax free. And then when it's time to withdraw it, um, they don't tax you. And when it's time to withdraw, they tax you based off of your income bracket when you're retired. I plan on being a millionaire, so my tax bracket is going to be way higher than it is now. So I would rather pay my taxes up front, let it accrue and accumulate interest over the years, and then when it's time to withdraw it, um, there's no taxes. Another thing is with the Roths, ROTH, with the Roths, there's no specified time period where you have to start receiving money or start getting what's called distributions, which is money coming out of this account here. The benefit of that is, say you have other savings, other investment vehicles, because you're only putting up 100 or 200 bucks a month, right? You may have other savings with more investments. You can leave this to your children, tax free, because it's a Roth, meaning you don't have to take money out when you turn 70 and a half years. Um, with the traditional 401k, once you hit a certain age, you have to withdraw money. You have to start getting distributions, which means you can't let it continue growing, and you can't pass it down to children, to the seeds. This is what this is all about. So there are downsides to and drawbacks to a 401k. Some of them are whack because you only can invest in certain limited options, um, like high price mutual funds. Um, there's some of them don't have a lot of options. Luckily, in my company, they work with um, retirement planning, you know, teams at investment banks, and they give you an array of options, depending on when you're gonna retire, depending on how risky you want to get, and things like that. So, check out your 401k plan with your employer. Max that ish out. Be a smart millennial. Let the compound interest go. It's only 2 years of sacrifice, man. We're not talking for the rest of your life. Live crazy. Even if you just do 1 year, 1 year will be 620, and you invested $100 a month into it. Thereafter, for 42 years, even if you just did 1 year of maxing out, just 12 months, man. That goes by fast. In a year of 9% interest on 18,000, you would get you should get 1,620 times, yeah, 1,620. So even if you just do it for a year, you could get about half the money, which is 6 milli after 42 years, or let's see 40 years, because we're a little bit older. In 42 years, it would be 60, like 69, 70. So to bring it down to 40 years would be 67, around 67, 68. We can't rely on Social Security alone, guys. Come on. They say it's not going to exist by the time we retire. So we have to be smart. Let's say you did $200 a month for those 40 years. Just shut it up automatically. You got 10 minutes. Come on, man. This is too easy. All right, your brother, your friend, 5 a.m. in LA. 20-minute video. Peace.